If you don't have the ability to, change the location of your window, you could evaluate the quality of your window. Like, are your windows dated? Do they have a lot of obstruction in the pane? Are they even energy efficient? I mean, we've had clients come to us and say, I want to put foam insulation in my attic because the climate's so bad in here. And we're like, well, your windows are 25 years old and your house feels dark because
you've got every window closed or like covered up.
Yeah. Thinking that it's just a climate control issue, with your insulation. And in reality, your windows are a major problem for you. So that would be worth investing in upgrading your windows. Natural light is money in disguise. You can never underestimate the power of good light, but natural light is more than just good light. It is like a game changer. It can dramatically affect everything about the room.
Yeah, a well-lit room, especially with the natural light, generally feels bigger. It looks better. When people walk into a dark room, it feels small, it feels dated, but having that warm natural light automatically makes things look just a whole lot nicer and feels a whole lot nicer.
Well, let's just talk about light in general and how color is influenced by light. You could go into like a local hardware store to look at paint, as an example, and fall in love with the paint color. And then you get a sample and you bring it home and it doesn't look the same. And you're like, why doesn't it look the same? Or now I have 10 samples on my wall and nothing looks like it did in the store. It doesn't look like it does on Instagram. Like, I'm so frustrated. What's my problem? Well, odds are it's probably your lighting. And natural light is one of the most valuable things that can influence your design. It can influence your mood. It can influence how you feel in the space, how you experience the space. And often people overlook this. They want privacy. So they cover up their windows with like really heavy, shutters, or they want to black out all their windows. And then they don't understand why they're not fully enjoying their room.
With the color and the light, when you look at those colors in the store, they're under a light that's more designed to produce like a natural light, sunshine.
Yeah.
So when you get it home and you've got it in that dark corner, of course it doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
You've got it. All my windows are closed. All of, everything's covered up, like you were just saying. Of course it looks different because you're not letting the light into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if you're building something or doing a major renovation where you have the ability to, strategically plan out where your windows are going to be, that's fantastic. And I always recommend at least a window in every single room. That's always a goal of mine. I don't prefer skylights. Some people will put skylights in, and that was big, probably bigger back in like 70s, the 80s, where it became this big architectural feature where you could, create a floor plan that really was more of a box and just open up the ceiling enough to emit a little bit of light, which I guess if that's what you have to do.
That's what you have to do. And I mean, some people like them though.
Yeah.
It's just one of those designs. It's not for everybody, but
I don't recommend it. However,
I'm neutral.
If you have that ability to plan it out, you're building a new house, or even a commercial space, it really doesn't matter. You plan for windows. Plan for windows, as much natural light as you can get. Your architectural features should be built around capitalizing on, the environment around you, like the natural light, all the things that bring value from that. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have the ability to, change the location of your window, you could evaluate the quality of your window. Like, are your windows dated? Do they have a lot of obstruction in the pane? Are they even energy efficient? I mean, we've had clients come to us and say, I want to put foam insulation in my attic because the climate's so bad in here. And we're like, well, your windows are 25 years old and your house feels dark because you're covering your windows.
You've got every window closed or like covered up.
Yeah. Thinking that it's just a climate control issue, with your insulation. And in reality, your windows are a major problem for you. So that would be worth investing in upgrading your windows.
Yeah. But again, that having the natural light, and especially when you can, when you're able to do it, like it makes a room feel bigger.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And as an investor, or if you're trying to flip, or even, you're going to rent a home out, or even your own home, people value the space. And so somebody that can walk into a room and be like, this room feels huge. And it may not even be that big, but it feels big because of the light that's emitted into it. They equate more value to it, without even thinking about it.
And the emotional connection, of, I should say more of an experience. There's a genuine emotional response to fresh air, things that feel open and lighter and airy. That's why people like to be outside, especially when the weather's nice. But let's say the other end of the spectrum from lighting is if you want to actually create a mood or create a tone strategically, how do you approach, natural light and lend it to creating maybe a softer, more intimate space? It all boils back down to color, though. Mm-hmm. Definitely geography affects light exposure, and it's also going to be different at different times of the year. So, in the summer, you might get more direct light from the north most of the day, let's say. And I wouldn't, okay, let me just be honest. I would not plan a design around that specifically unless the design was going to be affected by that light to the point that it was affecting the function or the usability of that space. So like outdoor stuff, absolutely. Or if you're building a house from the ground up, you would consider all of those things. But there's also a lot of obstructions that could be, you could go down a rabbit hole about that, because if you had a neighbor's house that was going to take your sunlight for the day or whatever, or if you lived in the mountains, there is a lot of variety to those types of stipulations, in my opinion. It kind of gets me a little off track when I think like that.
Let me help shift you here then. My windows are good, but I'm just not getting all the natural light in that I want. Are there ways that, I can play with improving that light? Like, you've talked about paint, but, when you get into paint, like the sheen, there's the flat, there's the semi-gloss, there's gloss. Are there ways to help affect some of that, maybe?
Yes, it's more about a color than a sheen. A sheen is just going to pop the light across. It's not always going to make it feel bigger. Furniture placement can be a huge factor with optimizing light. If you're putting furniture in the wrong place, or you're covering, or you're creating some level of obstruction that's prohibiting the light from coming in, that's going to be problematic. You're going to feel like you're not capitalizing on this big, gorgeous window that you have. So definitely be mindful. And to be honest, design should be framed around focal points of the room, and windows are focal points. So windows serve a purpose in the space that has to be considered when you're designing a space. I mean, if you're building and you can focus on, okay, I want to apply natural light, or I want to apply a window here, that's one thing. But if you already have an existing space that has a window or windows, then those need to be considered in how you use the space, what's the focal point. You never want to put furniture backed up to a window unless it has some level of purpose and you're still allowing light to come through. What I mean by that is like, you could put like a console as an example, maybe in front of like an airy console that's open on the bottom. It's not a solid structure. And maybe you put, plants on that or something. So you're accenting the mirror, or the window as part of the design, but you're not totally
blocking the window.
Yeah. Blocking out the function of what the window is supposed to be doing.
No, I mean, we've walked in, we've seen houses where it's like, oh, they put the bed with the massive headboard right in front of the window. Now 3/4 of the window is blocked. And of course the room now feels really dark.
Small. Yeah. You can also, of course, use, mirrors and high reflective finishes on furniture that can help bounce and reflect light throughout. And then if you are in a situation where you have a lot of windows, but maybe you have different obstructions that are prohibiting the light from getting into your room as much as you would like maybe you have a mountain or some type of geographical structure that is, casting shade, you can dress the window with light, airy material and preferably a light color as well. Well, and having that soft curtain that is, still going to have the light, airy feel to it will allow you to keep the window more exposed, more open, even though you're not getting a ton of light. So it can help with insulation. As an example, like if it's a really cold or, dreary day, it may feel cold to have all your windows open. But if you have a light drapery application where you can still have the ambiance of maximizing on that natural, because even on a cloudy day, you're still going to have
natural light,
a different light reflecting in than you would if you just had it completely draped off. So point being, you can play to the architecture and try to enhance the light as much as you can versus just opting out to cover the window. It's cold outside, or cover the window. I'm not getting any direct sunlight right now. It'll still influence the room, even if you're not having direct sun beaming in through the window. It's still a really valuable design feature. I mean,
I like having the big open windows, and I used to like the what were the shutter style?
Yeah, like the wood shutters. Like those are kind of popular out here in the West.
Yeah,
I mean, some people think we're like in the South. They think this is the South, but really it's like more Western.
More Western, but they're nice for some privacy sometimes, but they block so much light, and that light just really does influence the way the room feels, the way you feel, and give you that emotional return on designs. Like having light, having things bright and not dark and dungeon. I mean, that light affects so many things, not just the look of a room, but how something feels.
Yeah. I come back to I say this a lot, like function and purpose for the use of the space is where you should always start with design. And that includes optimizing the natural light, like playing on the existing architecture and making sure you are not just, falling into trend pitfalls of like trying to just replicate something. But I mean, natural light is valuable. Let's talk about a flip we've done where we have a great natural light. We've lightened the walls, we've lightened the floors. And when we get feedback from people who go and view the house, we always hear we love the natural light. Yeah. It feels so fresh. It feels so light. No one's ever. It also
feels warm and inviting. Nobody's ever come back and said, "Oh, it feels like a dungeon in here."
Yeah, so that's like real market feedback. I mean, it matters to buyers. It matters how they perceive a space, how they feel in the space. And yeah, it matters.
Well, and when you have the natural light too, you also don't have to go crazy with, chandeliers and other lighting fixtures to try and be able to even see in the space.
Yeah.
You got free light.
Yeah.
And then you can go back to looking at other details, and that natural light accentuates details.
Right. It's a game changer. Most people desire, more light. Or even if a design client comes to me and they're like, it just feels dark, it just feels dated. Most of it is a light problem.
Open your window.
Either they don't have the light in the architecture, they have the wrong windows, they have the wrong window applications, furniture placement, paint color. I mean, it all snowballs from there, but you can always start with light, how to maximize it, how to marginalize it. So you're getting your experiential return, you're enjoying your space, but you're also, there's a perceived value.
Yeah.
And more than just a perceived, really. I mean,
it's one of those values that translates.
Yeah, agree.
This doesn't mean that everything, like you have to have floor to ceiling windows in every room. That's not always feasible and not always truly even necessary. I do personally like the bigger windows, but when you use the natural light that's available to you, and especially in a remodel and a flip or something like that, you can really use that to your advantage to, bring in the rest of your design that you're putting in and get it to that higher value.
Most of the time, you can work with what you already have in terms of your existing windows and design around that to optimize your light. Especially if you are living in the space or you're staging the space to be lived in. If you are renovating a property and the light is lacking, that might be a time to really consider, like, do I need to put money towards this in my budget to capitalize on the potential of this space? And maybe the floors are great, but the lighting is horrible. You may not need to change the floors, but you need to upgrade the lighting and it'll change everything. That's just one example.
Yeah. And sometimes remember, when you're looking at a space, it's like, why is the light off? Is it the natural light is just not enough, or am I blocking it for another reason?
Right.
And sometimes it compounds, like we talked about, I keep all the windows closed because I feel like the insulation's off. So I'm trying to just keep everything in. Well, maybe it's the 30-year-old window you've got there, or, even in one of the houses we just did, just that 50-year-old window that was in there that just, it's not sealing anymore,
right.
And now I can put a brand new window in economically and completely change the space.
Yeah. It's actually comical that people can get in that cycle. It's like a cycle of, oh, it feels hot in here. Well, close the windows and turn up the air.
Yeah.
Then,
it's
so dark in here. Why is it so dark in here? Oh, I should maybe paint the wall, or maybe I need to add more lamps. And it's
I just need to open
one
the
thing
window.
becomes another thing. And before you know it, you're redesigning a whole space when in reality, you just need to open the window. Zoom your picture out.
Your windows are very important for a lot of reasons. The efficiency of your home, the light in your home, the view, the feel, they affect a lot.
Yeah.
And they're very much overlooked.
I think so. Like, especially when people are renovating or designing, they don't put enough weight on the consideration of that. I always like to say too, start with a clean slate if possible. Like if the room is such a pain point and you just can't figure out why, just like take everything out, get a clean slate and evaluate it from its structural composition and like, what is it by itself? And then you can kind of start to ease in and piece back together. And that can help you define the space, focus on what's important, and maximize that lighting. So hope that gives you something to walk away with today. I know we kind of went around the spectrum of all the different lighting possibilities, but hopefully it gives you something to think about, a different perspective on where your pain point can really be, and maybe you're overlooking it, and where maybe you need to focus your the focal point of your room, and don't neglect that natural light.
Yeah. So if you like what you heard, hit that like button, follow, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Thanks for listening.